Gurus are promising that you can automate everything with AI, generate hundreds of blogs, get thousands of leads for your business, or even make millions by automating video creation. But be honest with me, do you really believe it's that simple? Most of these AI workflows lie to you by making you think that the value is in the end-to-end automation or the AI agent orchestrating everything. But the real value of these workflows actually lies in the input data. Without good input data, these workflows just generate garbage that nobody will read and nobody will actually convert to whatever you're trying to sell or whatever you're trying to produce. Without good input data, you're going to get nowhere. And that is the secret that these gurus don't teach you. So in this video, I'm going to show you what my workflow looks like for generating high quality blogs for my YouTube videos and how bad the output is if I take those YouTube videos away and just generate random blogs without any good input data. And by watching this video, you can learn how you can automate something that's actually valuable instead of spamming people with garbage that nobody will read or respond to. So let's get into it. So this is my end-to-end automation, and it's actually fairly simple. Whenever a new page is added to my YouTube videos database, if that page is not processed yet, I actually call this AI model to create a blog post based on the YouTube transcript and other attributes that we'll get into later. And then it actually creates a file in my GitHub repository because my blog is hosted on a code platform, and then that automatically then gets pushed into the live website. Of course, then I just update the database page to say that the blog has been processed. And that's really it. So let's look at an example result that is coming from this workflow. On my website, I've got many blog articles that are based on my YouTube videos like this one. I have a very successful video on my AI coding framework that people have used to code with AI successfully. And this is kind of a blog post version of that where it describes the framework in quite some detail. So the framework basically consists of splitting up tasks for the AI model, making it think before it actually starts coding, and then implementing your features incrementally instead of asking it to do everything at once. And everything that you see in this blog article is actually coming from that YouTube video. And that is a big differentiator. I'm really publishing these blog posts on my personal name. So why would I want a random AI model to write a low quality blog post? I want the blog post to be based on my YouTube video. And so if you read this blog post and then watch the full YouTube video, it actually has synergy, because the content is actually about that YouTube video. And that's why this automation works so well, because people might find my blog and don't know about my YouTube channel yet, and then they will flow right into the YouTube video where they will realize, okay, this is actually high quality content. And this is a great automation because I respect both myself because I save time for having to write these blog posts, but I also respect you, the viewer or reader, because these blog posts are actual high quality. They provide good insights, and you can just go and watch the full YouTube video to learn more. And to prove that this actually works, let's go ahead and add a new row to this Notion database, which is based on my latest YouTube video. To do this, I'm actually going to open Claude Desktop because I have an AI operating system that's basically connected to my YouTube channel through MCP server. So what I can do here is simply say, retrieve my latest YouTube video and ingest it for blog creation. And then I'm going to select a very powerful model and run it like so. And Claude is actually able to retrieve transcripts from my YouTube channel, push information to the Notion database, and so it's actually going to fill in that Notion page for me. You can see here that at the time of recording this video, my last video was about using 3 AI code agents at once, and you can indeed see that it's now going to retrieve the entire transcript for that video, and from there it's going to summarize the transcript, provide more metadata, and then eventually create that page in a Notion database. So here we go, it's downloading the transcript. And now you can indeed see that the response is a big wall of text. If I keep scrolling here, you can see it's a huge transcript because this video was like 20 minutes long. And this already shows you this is high quality data. So the blog output is going to be pretty good quality as well. And now you can indeed see that it's already created a first entry. It actually creates multiple entries because it wants to create multiple blog posts with slightly different angles. But we can already go back into Notion and see if it indeed actually added that page. Oh, and you can indeed see we've got 2 new rows here. One about a AI coding reality check. So this is actually quite accurate because in the video, I actually use multiple AI agents at once, but I still needed to be the human orchestrator to make everything work and actually make progress in my coding project. And then the second topic is actually about creating master prompts for orchestrating all of these AI coding agents. And all of that indeed comes from the actual video content, which is great. And you can see here that, for example, these two have different hooks and they have different key insights. Again, coming from my own real expertise, this is novel data and not some random input that you get when you connect an AI agent to a web search. This is expert information that will actually lead to a high quality blog. So now if we go to NA10, we should see that it's starting to trigger on some of these rows. In NA10, I'm going to go ahead and just check if this has been run. So we're going to go to the executions here, and you can indeed see that now one of these is actually running. So this one's running for 18 seconds, 19, 20, here we go. And then you should see that in a minute or so, this one is actually finished. It will take a little bit of time, of course, to generate the blog article. But here we go. In just 28 seconds, you can see that it's gone through the entire flow. So what has it actually done? Well, it's gone through the AI agent with a given system prompt. This is quite a large prompt that I'll actually share in the comments because, I actually think, again, that the prompt itself is not super valuable because it only works if you have good input data. And at the very end of the prompt, you can see that I'm basically adding all of that information that is retrieved from the YouTube video. And then you get this big output, which is basically our blog post. Now, I'm going to show you the blog post in a bit more of a readable format in a little bit, because when we go to the canvas, you can see that it actually creates a file in GitHub. So we can actually preview the blog in my GitHub repository before it actually goes live on the website. So I'm going to browse to my GitHub repository now, and you can see that the auto block has had recent pushes 2 seconds ago. So I can actually go and compare the changes to see the created blog post. And let's go ahead and open this one here. Now, this is a markdown format because that's just how my website works, but I can just click on View File, and I can see the actual text content. So you can indeed see that this blog post actually starts out by saying that making AI agents work together requires 48 iterations of a single prompt. And this is true. In my video, I showed you that it took me a long time to make multiple AI agents work together for coding purposes. This already indicates to you, without you having to read this whole blog, that this is an actual blog that's based on my expertise and my content. So it's highly valuable. And everything that you see in this blog, from indeed the strategic file ownership and role distribution to how these agents should communicate, is something that's coming from my own knowledge and my experience. So if people have any questions about this blog article, they know that I'm the expert that can actually answer their questions. Now let's see how bad the output of this automation actually is if I don't provide this YouTube video content at all, and I just ask it to generate a random blog about coding with multiple AI agents. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add a manual page to my Notion database, and I'm not going to fill in as many details because this is usually what happens when people create these automations. They work on the automation itself, but then they don't work on the input data, and maybe they even let the AI model generate the input data for them. So what you're going to get is something like this. If we talk about the same topic, you might have something like using multiple AI agents at the same time. And then we have the content type blog post with the hook being something like using multiple AI agents for vibe coding is a brilliant idea. And then we'll give this a little markdown file name, AI agents multiplication, markdown, and we will just set the status to processing. Now, you can see here that multiple columns are missing. For example, we're missing the key insights, the SEO keywords, and the summary of the transcript, because hey, I'm not passing my YouTube video this time. You might be thinking, can I not fill in these columns with an AI model that has access to web search, for example? Maybe, but guess what? Guess how many people are actually doing the same thing as you? Guess how many blogs like that with completely average insights are being published on a daily basis? If you rely on an AI for the automation itself as well as the input data, you're going to get something that's completely average. Because you have to know this about AI. AI models are statistical models. So if you don't provide right input data, then the output from these models is just going to be completely average. And it's not actually going to be anything unique that gets people to be interested in the content that you produce. So let's just go ahead and prove that, because you can see here that the status is published, and we can just check in NA10 to see what the resulting blog is. So in NA10, you can indeed see that we have a successful run here at the end. And I'm just going to go ahead and jump straight into GitHub, because then we can actually see what the blog post looks like. So inside of GitHub, I'm going to go back into that branch. And then I'm going to do a full refresh and we should see that new block pop up. So indeed, 1 minute ago, you can see that a new block has been created, and we're just going to go ahead and view that file. So now you can see it actually immediately starts with like a super generic AI generated sentence. The concept of using multiple AI agents simultaneously isn't just clever, M dash, it's transformative. This is so typical. This is like a standard LinkedIn post that no one cares about. Be honest, if you see a sentence like this, don't you already know this is AI written, this content is uninteresting, and I'm not going to read further? What's more, just look at how this paragraph ends. When these agents work in parallel, they create a dynamic problem-solving ecosystem that can handle sophisticated tasks far beyond what any single agent could accomplish alone. Really? I don't even believe in that, because sometimes it makes sense to use multiple AI agents in parallel, but for specific use cases, you might just need to work with one AI agent to make sure that you code something properly. So this already is a blog post that I will be super unhappy with, because this does not represent my expert opinion at all. This is just a super generic blog post that the AI system made up because I did not provide the right input data. So the lesson of this video is that whether you are creating an automation for blog posts, for LinkedIn reach outs, or video creation, anything like that, you have to remember that the input data is way more important than the automation or the AI agent itself. And if you follow what I laid out in this video, then you will be a real automator and not a spammer. See you next time.